I don't have giant hands like Hendrix did, and I'm well over 40, so they hurt a lot too. But am I going to let that stop me from playing those cool Hendrix chordal lines? No way. And you shouldn't let that stop you either. Today I'm going to break down each element and show you how to play Jimi Hendrix chordal style without the thumb wrap. If you're like me, you love Jimi Hendrix's chordal style on things like The Wind Cries Mary and Little Wing. Players like John Mayer, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Philip Sayce, and John Frusciante borrowed heavily from that chordal style that he had. But they all used that thumb wrap quite a bit. I'm not going to lie, it's definitely got its advantages. But what if you got small hands, or worse, you've got a lot of hand pain and it's just difficult for you to do that thumb wrap? Should you give up on all that cool play? No way. You should fly your own freak flag, as Jimmy would say. Here are the elements besides the thumb wrap technique that help me get there, and they will help you get there as well. And besides, I know it's cool to play like Jimmy and all, but isn't the goal really for you to sound good doing you? And this will help you get there. Small disclaimer here. I do believe that most people can get the thumb wrap technique down regardless of their hand size. It does take considerable time and effort, so you shouldn't feel pressured that you absolutely have to do it. After all, it's a great technique, but life is short and you can sound good anyway. The first element, visualizing bar chords. You can use more complex chords, but we're going to keep it simple here today. The first thing that we need to make sure that we know are 3 bar chord forms. So let's check it out. Maybe you know them, and if you do, great. You're already through with the first part. So for example, in A, we have the E-shaped bar chord with the root on the E string. We have the A-shaped bar chord with the root on the A string, either here or here. And the one that trips everybody up, we have the C-shaped bar chord with the root on the A string. Note that I didn't say you have to play these, but it is vital to visualize them. If you're like me, you already know these shapes, so that's great. You're all set. Let's move on. The second element, small triads. Here's where it gets interesting. We're going to take tiny pieces of the bar chords that we already knew, and we're going to add 2 little chords as well. For example, for the E-shaped bar chord, we're going to visualize breaking it up into 3 string sets like this. Here's the EAD, here's the ADG, here's the DGB, and here's the GBE. For the A-shaped bar chord, here's the ADG, here's the DGB, here's the GBE. And for the C-shaped bar chord, here's the ADG, here's the DGB, here's the GBE. So far, that's nothing new, so it should present no problem. Now we're going to add 2 simple chords. They're both triads. They're simple, but you may not know them. For the E-shaped bar chord, we're going to add this chord. And for the A-shaped bar chord, we're going to add this chord. Those are known as first inversion triads. I've created a sheet that you can download that'll help you remember. It's linked in the description of the video. The third element, movement. This is where you're really going to hear and see things start taking shape. Jimmy didn't just sit there and play his chords. He added movement to them in a very organic way. People call that using good voice leading. Let me give you an example. Those chords are really simple and they're close to each other. With minimal movement you can hear the musical line, as opposed to banging out bar chords where there's a lot going on there. Now there's an exercise that you can do to help you build fluency. It just goes from one major triad to the next. It kind of goes like this all the way up the neck. We're going to do this in A, so. And then again it repeats. And again. And then you go down. Like that. The fourth element, phrasing, hammer-ons and pull-offs. Jimmy added a bunch of fills using hammer-ons and pull-offs. The general idea is to use those small triads to give yourself free fingers and to use those free fingers to do something with them. Now you can take an academic approach and map out the major pentatonic for each chord shape, but I recommend something more practical. Just play the chord shape and use your free fingers to try out a bunch of notes. That way you're going to remember better which notes sound good and which ones don't. Here are a couple of examples to get you started. All right, here is a D chord with the root on A5, A string 5th fret. And here's that inversion that we were talking about. This one's great because you've got a lot of free fingers and you can do lots of stuff. Like, for example, you can hammer on from 7 to 9 on the 5th string. Or you could do the same thing on the 4th string. Or you could pull off from 10 to 9. Or you could combine them all. It's just fun to explore, and that's a great shape to do it with. The fifth element, muting. Here's actually a place where thumb wrapping really comes in handy, but you can still do it fine without wrapping the thumb. One of the things I like to do is completely block the strings as I rake backwards like that. Let me show you an example. Practice these 5 elements and you'll definitely start sounding a lot more Hendrixy. Now I won't BS you, it's going to take some time, especially smoothly seeing all those triads, but it's very doable, there's no magic, and there's no thumb required. If you want to know more about the ins and outs about this style of play, check the link in the description of the video to join the member site. I'd love to have you as a member. On the other hand, if you just want more simple insights, click on this link because there's a ton of them in there, and that's all YouTube. So click on this link. We'll see you on down the road.